let's see how we can utilize lessons that we learned from Qigong and Tai Chi in our life, and the way that we communicate, and the way that we interact with ourselves and with everybody else. And this is where nourishing me is nourishing you came. So, nourishing me is nourishing you is the first conference in Ottawa that's organized by our group, the Chi of Life group. And the Chi of Life group, as you read, our objective is about health and happiness, regulating the energy of your life to be able to access better levels of health and happiness. So, the Chi of Life is the art and science of regulating the energy flow of everything you experience in life to promote your health and to promote your happiness. Do you think that health and happiness can be separated? Or they are always together? They can be separate? Okay, so when you are sick, you can access happiness. Good. Why do you think that? This conference, I need to give you a heads up. This conference is experiential. Experiential meaning that we will have a dialogue all the time. It's a dialogue that you're having. It's not a monologue that I will speak and I will do like the biggest teacher in the world, and it's not like that at all. I'm here to listen to you more than what you will hear from me. And this is where you will discover wisdom, your own wisdom. So, going back to the point that I forgot.
Happiness when you're sick.
Yes, happiness while you are sick. This is possible.
It's a state of mind, not a state of body.
Exactly. So that means that health is relative. So you can be less level of health, but higher level of happiness if you are not perceiving yourself as a sick person. So it's a matter of perception. Perfect. This is why for the Chi of Life is all about health and happiness together, but not health like only obtaining a certain level of health. No, it's more about the perception of being healthy. Even if my health is 30% of what it used to be 20 years ago, for example. Please.
Just to be clear though, you're not suggesting denying of lesser health. It's more a matter of focusing on choosing your area of focus.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So you're not in denial and ignoring your health for the sake of happiness. You're choosing to focus on things that nourish your happiness.
Correct. Correct. Now we have to do all what we need, what we can do to enhance our physical health, obviously. But our focus doesn't need to be on the problem, it needs to be on what we have. And this is where, by itself, that's a healing energy that can help you and boost your healing process. So, one of the main characteristics of the Chi of Life that it's a mix between Far Eastern arts and human development coaching science. I believe that coaching is a science. I believe that human development is a science. It's not only an art. There is a lot of research in it now, and there's a lot of facts in it. The beauty of such a method that it brings in a lot of the spirituality and the deep and ancient methods and wisdom of the Far East, and present it in a Western practical way, and with a very methodical way, and that's a very important thing for us. So from now, let's start. The problem that we are discussing here is the changing of life. Life is messy, and there's a lot of changes all the time. So the problem that life is changing, sometimes can be very monotone and boring. You end up doing the same exact thing over and over and over. We are more and more living behind the screen. And by the way, that's a very interesting research that found that the majority of the US adults, they spend 10 hours in front of a screen every single day. Any kind of screen. So our experience is dictated by the screens that we are sitting behind. What else in life? Yeah, it's becoming too fast to enjoy it. Everything is running to the extent that while you are in that taxi or in this car, you cannot truly savor anything on the road. I cannot do shopping. Actually, it would be a good thing if my wife is with me, but so I cannot. You'll not be able to see anything on the sides of the road because you are just waiting to reach a destination that it's not nourishing for you. And one of the biggest problems, in my opinion, we stopped listening. Nobody truly listens. And I'm speaking about true listening. So, yeah, tell me about that. So when I tried to capture this in a statement, I found that Hugh Mackay, by the way, something to know about me, I do not, pronouncing names is a problem for me. I don't know how to pronounce names. So I will try my best, and you will correct me if I'm wrong. So Hugh Mackay managed to capture the challenge of life in a fantastic way. Nothing is perfect, life is messy, relationships are complex, outcomes are uncertain, people are irrational. Would you agree with what he's saying? Would you add something more? Please tell me what's more than what he said.
But it's worth it.
Sorry?
But it's worth it.
But it's worth it.
Living the life.
I have a belief, and that's to be able to truly nourish ourselves, first we need to know where are we standing. And to know where are we standing, that means when we are in an uncomfortable area, we need to savor the discomfort first before jumping into looking to at the positive side. So first we need to truly understand the level of discomfort that we are living in. Otherwise, what we will be doing, what's called bypassing, if it's emotional bypassing or spiritual bypassing. Whatever we are leaving behind us, it will wait for us until the bubble of bliss that we created. It's like my house is burning. Okay, I will go and meditate to calm down and relax. By the time you go back, the house is completely burnt. So we need first to deal with what's negative by living it, and after that, overcoming the negativity with positive. So, in the middle of all of these changes, in the middle of the challenges of life, a question, of course, emerges. How can you not only survive, thrive in such conditions? I don't think that any of us will enjoy life if it's all about just living from one day to the other, surviving it. We all have aspirations, we all have goals, we all are looking to the future. So how we can thrive in something like that? So please help me answering this question. In your opinion, what skill or skills can help your health, relationships, and community thrive in such life challenges? What skill do you want? We don't need to speak about it in theory and with a large philosophy. In your opinion, what are you missing to thrive in your health? What are you missing to thrive more? I'm not presuming that you are stuck and you are not thriving already, but to thrive more in your relationships. What are you missing to thrive more in community? And when I am referring to community here, I mean it from the micro community, your family, to the macro community, your country and beyond. So would you help me answer these questions, please?
I would say for me, it's to be true to myself, so being linked with what I'm feeling, what I really want, so be honest.
So the skill that you are looking for here is honesty. Great. What else?
To recognize more and appreciate all the good things that sometimes we let just pass by because we always focus on the bad things.
So appreciating what you have. And okay, like give me a percentage that you would like to be more appreciative than what you are now. Like I would like to be more appreciative than what I am now, like 60-70%, for example.
That's hard to say. There's so many things to appreciate that I probably don't realize. So probably at least 50%.
The reason of my question is just for me to understand, do you see yourself as an appreciating person? Do you have this skill already, but it's underdeveloped? Or you don't have it at all? So from what you're saying now, that you have it, which is a good start. What else?
Taking the time to meditate.
Taking the time to meditate. What else?
Trusting yourself.
Trusting yourself. What else?
Ability to stay grounded.
Ability to stay grounded.
Present.
To be present in the moment.
Ownership. Instead of letting life happen to you, realize you could have a role in it.
Ownership of your own life. All what you said now, in your opinion, these skills are nourishing me or nourishing others? So under which category? It's under the category of me nourishing myself or me nourishing others. And these are the skills, so the majority of the skills that you lack or that you want more of exist within your own self-nourishment, according to what you're saying. Good. And do you believe that this will impact the others on the long run? Good. And of course, impacting the others in your life, that means your relationships. And impacting your relationships eventually will lead to impacting the entire community and the surroundings. So everything starts from you nourishing yourself first. Would anybody like to contradict me? Please. I love being contradicted. So the idea here, nourishing me is nourishing you. I have the belief, and the unshakable belief, that for me to be able to nourish everybody, for me to be of service to anybody, I need first to be of service to myself. Only then, the nourishment that I will share with others, it will be very authentic. And it will not compromise my own system, my own being. And this is how nourishing me is nourishing you. And by you, I mean everything else. If you is the other person in a relationship, or you is the others in a community, it's the same. How does that sound to you?
Simple and real.
Do you feel that it's practical? Good. So, now, from what we are saying here, we said multiple skills, but we need to be able to cultivate all what you said and transform them into a clear, step-by-step method that can help us nourish ourselves. So to crystallize all what you are saying, and of course there is much, much more than what you said. So to crystallize it in 3 steps only, how we can do that. So, and these questions I was asking myself, I always ask myself. And when I didn't find the answer, I went and I asked a tree. So, in a moment of love between me and a tree, the tree inspired me of the answers. So, let's see what the tree will say. Imagine this. A strong tree with deep roots in the ground. It's magnificent with a lot of leaves and a lot of branches and with a lot of fruits. This tree surrounded with an entire community that benefit from it. Humans that sat underneath the shades and chat and benefit from it. Sometimes they pick some of the fruits. Insects that they are thriving, squirrels, chipmunks, animals, an entire community living with this tree in the center. So the tree here is the caretaker. This is what will appear. That is the caretaker of the community that we are witnessing. In your opinion, what's the intention of this tree? What's the ultimate purpose of this tree?
Staying healthy.
Staying healthy.
For me, it's sort of like all the different paths that we could take throughout our life, like this way, various paths.
And this is what the tree, what the intention of the tree, or you are talking metaphorically?
Sort of metaphorically.
Metaphorically. Let's try to stay with the tree. So, for the tree, if I'm the tree, what's my ultimate purpose?
Grow leaves, produce enough leaves to feed yourself to get through another season.
Perfect. To be a tree, to feed myself, and so on and so on. And this is what we call to nourish myself. So the main objective of the tree, the ultimate goal of the tree, is self-nourishment. Do you think that the tree think about every insect and every animal and every entity that it's in its community? That person needs more shade. Let me lean towards him. That person needs more fruit. Let me give him more fruit. Of course not.
It's from how I've grown apart to protect myself from eating me up.
How similar we are to the tree in your opinion? Do we focus on nourishing ourselves, or we focus on the community? What's the elegant answer that the majority of us, especially if you're an energy worker, a coach, a therapist, we answer when somebody asks us, what's your purpose in life? What's your ultimate goal? Help others. Wow, how elegant. It sounds fantastic. Be of service. Fantastic. All of these beautiful answers that trigger respect in others. But is that realistic? Is that real? I'm not doubting our intention to help others. But what I am speaking about here, how much are we compromising ourselves when this is our focus? Because if the tree kept dancing to fulfill every need that it's listening to, it will neglect its own self-nourishment. And I will end up helping 10 people, then crashing. and then helping another 10 people, then crashing. And the people, nobody is happy anymore, anyway, because by the time I'm giving shade to that person, the other person over there is cursing me because I'm not giving him enough attention. How many of you can resonate with what I'm saying in your own life? Good. Much more than Tai Chi. So, the ultimate goal of the tree is to nourish itself. Simple. Which brings us to, what does it mean to nourish itself? How is it truly nourishing itself? So if you want to do, okay, the way of the tree for nourishment, 101 for humans. What will be step 1, step 2, step 3 as a tree? Let's explore that together. So the tree first assess or become present with its needs. To nourish myself, I first need to understand, what do I need? Assess or sense or feel into my needs. And this is what we call presence. So the what of the way of the tree is needs. What could be the needs of the tree? Oxygen, water, carbon dioxide, sunlight, minerals, space. So these are first thing, or the first element that the tree concentrates on. What do I need? Then, resources. How I can fulfill my needs. That's the second question of the tree. So, the needs, and from where am I going to get the needs? The light from the sun, the gases from the air, and so on. Now the last step is the action that I'm going to fulfill my need through. So I did my homework. First, I sensed and I assessed my needs. Second, I researched from where I can get them. Somebody? Yes. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. So, second, I researched from where I can get and fulfill my needs. Third, I choose the right course of action to fulfill my need. And gladly, there's only 3 steps as a course of action. 3 kinds of actions. Either I'm absorbing, taking in. So oxygen, I need to absorb, the tree needs to absorb oxygen, but also in a certain moment it needs to release oxygen. Carbon dioxide at the same time. Absorb. So absorption is the first action course. Second action course, releasing. Third action course, enabling. So absorbing and releasing, maybe it's clear, but what enabling mean? In your opinion, what does that mean?
Letting go.
Letting go, allowing things to happen. If the tree is absorbing and releasing all the time, there will never be the space that will allow the absorption and the releasing happen. So when we say, just be and stop doing, just be and stop doing, be more and do less, be more and do less, this is exactly what we mean. To be more, it will give you the space for magic to happen. To keep doing all the time, you will not be able to know neither what is your true needs nor from where you can fulfill them. This is why enabling is a very important course of action. It's like to listen to the music, you need some moments of silence. To be able to have a conversation, you need to stop talking. That's the idea of enabling. Okay. Now from the what, the how. So the tree first identify its needs, and this is what we call presence. To be present with your need is to be able to identify it. Researching your resources. That's the second. Researching to research your resource, this is what we call awareness. To become more aware from where you can get your need, from where you can fulfill your need. The last step is taking relevant action. And this is what I call balance. When I have too much water, for example, in my body, the right course of action here, since I have too much of something, I need to release it. When I release the excessive amount of water, then I reach a state of balance in my water intake. And that's just an example. The same thing in emotions. If I am sad and I have I'm suppressing sadness from a while, or something happened that made me very sad, I need to release the sadness. Not to absorb more sadness, no, to release the sadness. When I release the sadness by expressing it by one of the many techniques that you will learn with us today and tomorrow, then I will reach a state of balance, an emotional balance. This state is momentarily, of course, because life changes all the time. You will not be identified as the balanced person. You will be a person with moments of imbalances and moments of balances. So balance in itself is the action. The action. So, and this is the how. So from what you heard, let's try this. What does nourishment mean to you now? Growing. So for you to nourish yourself, or it's the purpose of nourishment? Which one are they?
It's not necessarily say the act of growing, it's things around you growing in various things like your health, all kinds of.
So for you to say that I am nourishing myself is when you feel that you are growing. When I feel that I am growing, I am nourishing myself. This is what you are saying? Perfect. What else? What is nourishment to you? There is no right answer, there is only your answer. Please.
Giving some space for the good to come in.
So you will be nourishing yourself when you give some space to the good to come in. Beautiful. What is nourishment to you?
Moments of stillness, of calm,
Moments
listening to myself.
of calm. Moments of enabling, of grounding. What is nourishment to you? Please.
Comfortable with yourself with what you choose to do.
Experiencing comfort in what you choose to do. Please.
I think taking time to do something like what we're doing, taking time out of helping everybody else and thinking what everybody else needs and opening up to new ideas.
So,
Or even just validating some of this. I'm sure some of us saying the aha moments that we kind of, I'm anticipating the weekend is going to be a few of those where you sort of know it, but you haven't articulated it, but how it all falls into place. So I think it's that, making time for that. That's what I'm trying to say.
I resonate with what you're saying a lot. So the idea of being able to have a chance to look at things with a different perspective. And definitely I'm not saying anything new. I am saying things that you heard throughout your life over and over and over again, and even your heart was telling you about it many, many times. But you did not give it enough chance to articulate it because of life challenges that we started with. So the true, let's say, balance comes from simplicity and comes from what we already know. It doesn't come from new things to learn. It comes from relearning what we know. Yet with a spin, with a different perspective, with a different way. So, okay, now, why is it important? If I will not nourish myself now, what will happen to me? That's a question that I want you to ask yourself. If I will not learn to nourish myself better in this moment, what could happen to me?
Why is to keep health and happiness around us, and if we're not in balance with ourselves, we're going to create our health problems, and stuff can happen to us to not be aligned with what we really want.
Can you pinpoint one thing that matters to you the most? Because when we speak about health and relationships and everything, it's on a philosophical level. We need to bring it down to our level as an individual now. So for you,
Why is it important?
why is it important now to start nourishing yourself?
We always see it as a higher level than what it is in actual action. So I would say be true to myself.
So, what you're saying now, that if I will not start nourishing myself in this moment, I will be less true with myself in the next moment. Great answer and relevant, and that's exactly what we are looking for, something that matters to us. This is what will bring all what we are talking about from theory to practice, to embodied skills and qualities. So, how do you nourish yourself then? So now you have an idea about what is nourishment to you. You have an idea of why is it important. How do you think, what do you need to do to start nourishing yourself?
Let go of things that I can't control.
Let go of things you cannot control. Be in the now. Good.
Recognizing what's draining you.
Recognizing.
Personally,
Yeah.
there's more things draining you than are nourishing.
Perfect. Perfect. I would like to share with you something that I love. We all put a lot of emphasis when we speak about self-nourishment, about physical needs, and even sometimes emotional needs. But there is an area that it's almost a bit a blind spot for us when we speak about self-nourishment. So, this area is mainly social relationships, social integration, emotional balance, and emotional nourishment. So when we speak about emotional nourishment, our understanding to nourishment start becoming foggy. So let's say what J. Donald said about that. He said that there are realities we all share, regardless of our nationality, language, or individual tastes. As we need food, so do we need emotional nourishment, love, kindness, appreciation, and support from others. If you noticed throughout my questions, I was asking about nourishment. Each one of us kept speaking about what I need to do to myself, what I need to do to myself. Not one of us said that I will seek or ask others to help me nourishing myself. Help me, support me. I will try to gain an external support. I will allow my relationships to support me, and so on and so on. And that's our blind spot. The majority of us are proud to ask for help. I am the first. It needs a lot of practice to be able to soften myself to the point that I will tell you, please, can you help me? Your help to me in that moment will nourish me. And that's a big blind spot. Now, I will share another thing with you that it's a very interesting research, but at the same time it's very alarming. One of the highest mortality risks is smoking. All the majority of the diseases that come out of smoking. And the percentage of for the research that they did on smoking is huge, to the extent that they found that if you quit smoking, your mortality risk will go down by 50%. If you are a heavy smoker or you keep smoking, your mortality risk will increase by 50%. That's common data. What blew me away is what's exactly side by side with smoking and the mortality as risk factors. Social relationships. So, this is the research that they did. They conducted a research on more than 300,000 persons, followed for 7.5 years. And this research demonstrated that 50% that the people that they have inadequate social relationships, their mortality risk is higher with 50%, and it's exactly the same level of smoking, which makes social relationships, the impact of social relationships is riskier than obesity, is riskier than inactivity, is riskier than diabetes, is riskier than a lot of other things that we focus on thinking that is more dangerous. To me, that's a fact that blew me away. And with the data that we cannot truly contradict. With that number of people, more than 5 universities conducted this research, 7.5 years. So,
How do you define adequate social relationship?
having relationships and keep trying. If I will put it very simple. Because the majority of us, or let's say, we can always choose not to interact that much and isolate ourselves. Because of what? There is many reasons. Intimidated, being an extreme introvert, the culture that I'm living in. What's important is to keep trying to create healthy relationships to myself. Healthy relationships in general. You can be surrounded with people, but you do not have a relationship. You work with hundreds of people every day, but not one of them that you truly have a relationship with. And on top of that, you don't have enough nourishing relationships in your personal life. So you end up in the entire spectrum of relationships, there is no nourishment coming from there. And this is why social relationship is, in my opinion, is the blind spot that we need to put as much light in as possible. Our work tomorrow will be focused on those two things. Physical nourishment, or personal individual nourishment, and relationship nourishment. To me, these are the two aspects that these are the true keys to your health and happiness. If you'll be able to create a healthy relationship, a relationship that nourishes you, that means a relationship that it's just simply doesn't strain you. It's not swallowing you. You are not dictated by the other person, nor you are feeling responsible to the other person. It's like both of us, we are carrying this relationship. And no matter how long it is and what kind of relationship it is. Okay, now, so to summarize all of that, I took the 3 steps of the way of the tree and we transformed it with a way that it can be customized for human beings. The way of the tree 101 for humans. So, first the what. We need to look first at, like the tree did with itself, we need to look at our needs as human beings. So, our needs, we have physical needs, we have emotional needs, and we have intellectual needs. The majority of us know what does physical needs more. Even we have an understanding for emotional needs. But what is the intellectual needs? So, can you please give me some examples about intellectual needs? What could be your intellectual need?
Opportunities to learn.
Opportunity to learn.
And to teach.
And to teach. So what's the true need here? If teaching is an action, what's the need behind the teaching? The thing is that you need to be able to highlight the need as much as possible by going a bit deeper.
So understanding.
Understanding.
To teach it, you need to own it, right?
Yes. Understanding. And understanding something for the sake of what? What it will do to you when you understand. And that's your question to ask yourself.
Learn. Keep growing.
So when I speak about intellectual needs, I will say having a purpose, it's an intellectual need. Goals is an intellectual need. I will say aspirations, expectations, validation, etc., etc. All of this area is intellectual needs. Emotional needs, simply put, it's about having more of one emotion and less of another. It's not about I need to have more positive emotions and less negative emotions. It's about obtaining balance by releasing what needs to be released, which means expressing it, and absorbing what needs to be absorbed. And of course, physical needs, comfort, having more comfort, that's a need. Less pain, that's a need. Thirst, that's a need. Rest, it's a need. Touch, it's a need. And much, much more. I'm just trying to pinpoint the direction. When I ask you, okay, now I want you to be present with your needs. You cannot, and you start sensing and being present with yourself, you cannot tell me, okay, no, I sense that I need a McDonald's. Okay? And and I will not judge you, definitely. Okay, but I will ask you, for the sake of what? McDonald's is not the need. McDonald's is an idea. What it's gonna nourish within you.
Is it emotionally?
Exactly. This is where things will start getting clearer. Is my need because a physical, is my need is physical oriented or emotional oriented or intellectual oriented? And we need them all, but we need it with a balanced way. So are you starting to see the usefulness of this distinctions? So now, like the tree, researching our resources. Simply put, we have inner resources and outer resources. So there are needs that we can fulfill within us, and there are needs that we need our surroundings to help us fulfill. So, to summarize it a little bit more, so inner resources is subjective and objective resources that exist within the person. So when we say an emotional need is a subjective need. It's not an objective need. It's not something that it's material and tangible. The outer resources, again, subjective and objective resources that exist within the surroundings of the person. So I have an emotional need and I cannot fulfill it myself. So I went and I sought Pat and I started speaking with her. And the purpose of me speaking with her, that I have this emotional need that I want her to help me fulfilling with whatever she will tell me or whatever she will not tell me. She's just listening. And as she's listening, she's fulfilling my needs. And in an indirect way, she is fulfilling her need too. Her need of being here for me or feeling supportive or feeling strong or feeling. Actions, it's exactly the same like a tree. We need to absorb, we need to release, and we need to enable to be able to fulfill our needs. Okay, but for a human being, what's absorbing mean? It's very simple when we are speaking about the tree because we are only speaking about a physical level of the tree. But for a human being that we have physical, emotional, intellectual, when we speak about absorbing, what does that mean?
Absorbing information, intellectually absorbing understanding and awareness of what those goals are that you have.
Absorbing information. Perfect. What else are we absorbing? And like if we will try to, absorbing information is the umbrella. We need to dissect it a little bit more, to go a bit in, more to make it more practical. So how do we absorb, what do we absorb, what kind of information are we absorbing?
Like just even being aware of your body, I guess, or that you're physically feeling.
Okay, I don't want you to mix between the identifying the needs and already jumping into the action. So what we are talking about here in absorbing information. Listening is absorbing verbal information. Noticing the other person's emotions or noticing my own emotions, that's absorbing emotional information. Reading, that's absorbing intellectual information. And so on and so on. So listening, whatever that will help me, that will create an intake That's absorption. Now releasing, what is releasing? How do we release?
Cry, laugh, releasing the emotions by those actions.
Perfect, which we call expression. So we express emotionally. On a physical level, of course, it's known what does it mean to release. Sweating is releasing. Your body is releasing excessive water and toxins. Going to the bathroom is releasing. So we need always to look at things with this kind of holistic multiple dimensions. So, did I nourish myself physically today? Did I nourish myself emotionally today? Did I nourish myself intellectually today? Okay, to be able to do that, what are my physical needs, my emotional needs, my intellectual needs? And to be able to identify which is which will help me to understand what kind of resources and what's the suitable resource that will fulfill my needs. Does that sound like a mad scientist, like philosophy for you, or it sounds a bit tangible?
It's tangible, it's just that yes, it is everything you said.
Okay. So sell no more, this is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that.
The last thing is enabling. And as the tree, enabling is about being, doing less, giving space, allowing, creating silence to allow music to happen. And this is what we are not very good at. Some of us are fantastic in absorbing. We want to learn more and listen more, and some of us is even greater in releasing and expressing. I keep speaking for hours and hours and hours without even stopping for one moment to see if you are with me or not. But the majority of us, because enabling, it's a very subtle quality. It's like doing nothing. So all what I need to do is to do nothing. That's a bit of an alien concept for us. But it exists around us everywhere in nature.
Sometimes enabling, though, can, if you allow, let's say it's a negative situation, you allow someone to do something that's harmful to themselves, that's enabling that person.
Can you ask me with a different way? Because I did not grasp exactly what you were trying to tell me. I'm sorry for that.
Enabling can be a negative thing as well as a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say a person, I'm going to use an example, is an alcoholic.
Yes.
Okay? And the person that is with the alcoholic enables that person to continue to be an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm. In that case, that's not enabling. In that case, that's passiveness. In that case, what's happening here, that there is a need inside. Okay, I'm the alcoholic, and you are the person that's doing nothing about it and saying nothing about it. What is the real reason or the real need that you are fulfilling with your silence by not doing anything for me? This need may be you're afraid of you're protecting yourself from my lash back at you, for example. This need may be you tried before many times and there were no results whatsoever. But what's happening here is not enabling, because there is you are not expressing what you truly think and what you truly feel, which is completely different. So, and remember, these three qualities, needs and resources and actions, they are inseparable. And within actions, absorbing and releasing and enabling They are inseparable. They happen in the same time very fast. Okay? If I did not enable, I will not be able to listen. If I will not be silent, I will not be able to listen. If I did not listen, I will not know what to say. All of that happens in a moment. The most important thing here is to be authentic with yourself and to be able to truly identify the real need behind your action. Why am I doing this? For the sake of what? Why am I not doing anything with that person? Or why do I want to do something with that person? So as more we get authentic with ourselves, as better we will be able to handle this. So if it's about me, maybe I will go and get my body as a support, and we will go together, and like that I am fulfilling my need of that I have an emotional need to calm down my fears with an extra support with me, for example. But that would not happen if I would not confess to myself that I don't want to help because of me, not because of that person. And this is where authenticity is very important. Does that make sense? Good. So, now we spoke about the what. Come on. Yeah, we spoke about the what. Now we speak about the how. So from what we learned from the tree, we need first to identify the needs, and this is what we call cultivating. Cultivating presence. To be present with your need. To be present with your need, that means to do nothing. But to utilize all your capacity on observation, to be able to observe yourself. So for example, and you will see that when we will start practicing together, when I will start telling you, be present with your body and try to notice where is pain. Sense your neck, for example. What you will do, you will start doing like that. In your opinion, this is presence? Or you are jumping into action right away? Being present with your neck, that means doing nothing, calming down, and starting to sense your neck without putting any intake, without adding anything, without doing anything, just being present with your neck, with your mind. Like that, you will be able to know exactly the condition of your neck without you putting any input in it. And that's just an example. So that's cultivating presence. And then researching your resource, and this is what we call awareness. Start being aware of the capacity of my body. Start being aware of the kind of people that can support me and that can help me and that they can fulfill my emotional needs. Start being aware of the kind of food that I thrive on, the kind of food that doesn't do me good, and so on and so on. So, cultivating awareness. The third thing, taking relevant actions by cultivating balance. Every action we do, we need to put in our mind that we are balancing between two things. So there's always the black and white, there is the yin and the yang. I need to find the balance. So every action we are doing, the purpose here is to balance it. So as I told you before, I have too much water. I need to release. For the sake of what? To have a balanced level of water. I have too much minerals. I need to let go some minerals, and all of that on the physical level, to have a balanced level of minerals. I have too much aggression. I need to let go some aggression with sports or whatever I will do. Why? To be able to reach a balanced level of emotions. So balance here is the key. And the cycle continues. So when I will be more balanced, I will be able to be more present with more needs that exist on a deeper level, and which will give me a better access to awareness. and awareness will help me to gain more balance. And the cycle continue. And that's the cycle of nourishment. So our to-do list for tomorrow would be cultivating presence. We will learn cultivating presence. We will learn cultivating awareness. And we will learn how to cultivate balance within, on a personal level and on relationships level. That's our work that's cut out for us. Today we spoke a lot it's because it's only the presentation. The real work will be tomorrow. So now, at this point I would like to introduce you to a very special person for me, Pamela. Pamela Pritchard. She has nearly 30 years of practice in coaching and human development. We have a very difficult to describe relationship. It's like we are friends. She's my mentor. I'm her teacher. She's my. We are exchanging chairs all the time. I believe that she will be the best person to tell us a story about self-nourishment. So please welcome with me, Pamela.
So I have my phone only so that I don't talk and talk and talk and talk. I have a time limit here, so. Thanks, Summer. It's funny because what you just said about our relationship, I was thinking the same thing. It's like strands of DNA. We're each other's teachers, we're each other's students, we're each other's friends, which is kind of a beautiful thing.
The most beautiful thing in life.
Yeah. So I feel very strange standing behind a podium, but I guess I kind of need to be here because you can hear me better that way. At the risk of overdoing the tree analogy, I'm wearing one on my scarf, and I'm in green. But I think I'm going to come at it from a slightly different angle. Still the tree, still a lot of the same kind of elements and qualities of the tree. But I want to talk more about the whole tree, if you will. When I was looking the other day at the Institute for Functional Medicine, which I know you're very involved in, they have this amazing, and I use, we all use tree metaphors, but we usually talk about the trunk and the roots. Samar spoke a bit about the leaves, and I notice again we have leaves all over the floor here. It's a good symbol for this time of year. And in this description of the tree, what they talked about is that in the medical field, what we tend, in the West anyway, we tend to treat the leaves on the tree. This is diabetes, this is hypertension, here's a little cancer, oh, over here we have a little heart disease. Let's treat those leaves. But very rarely do we actually look at what's the root cause, how is this affecting the trunk of the tree, and eventually, of course, the leaves are going to fall off and hopefully nourish the ground beneath it. And what occurred to me as I was reading that, first of all, I thought it was a really beautiful way of understanding how we see medical care in the West. But I think it's also how we tend to look at our life. We live in the leaves. We stay up in the leaves. We talk about the roots. We talk about the trunk, and occasionally we dip down there to make sure we put a little fertilizer on and, trim a few branches and things like that. But we mostly live in the leaves. What do I have to do next to get the next thing that's going to make me happy, richer, more successful, have a better house, have a better car, better relationships, whatever it may be? But it's this grasping for the leaves without very often, I think, stopping to think about what is it that really supports and sustains me. So when I was thinking about that, I was thinking I'm going to actually even challenge the title of the column. I'm going to be a bit heretical here and say that happiness is one of those things that, to me, for most of us in the West anyway, is a leaf. I want to be happy. When I get happiness, then I can turn to something else that I can get. In the American Constitution, it is the pursuit of happiness. It's an enshrined right. But the deformation of that in today's world, from when it was written in the 1700s to what it is now, is what we have is, I think, a fragmented world where everybody's running around trying to get their little piece of happiness, their little piece of success, their little piece of whatever. And as I was thinking about that, there's nothing wrong with being happy. I think happy's great. And Samara was mentioning, and some of you were talking about, can you be happy in the midst of not being healthy? Can you be, of course, these things are possible, theoretically. And most of us will nod our head and say, of course, yes, it's possible. But very few of us can do it. And for the most part, we avoid those kinds of things that seem very opposite. So if I'm miserable, then I'm miserable. Don't try and make me happy. I'm miserable. If I'm happy, don't do anything that's going to make me unhappy. I don't want to lose my happiness. So there's tremendous suffering, actually, in this grasping at trying to get happiness and keep it, because it's an elusive thing. So one of the ideas that came to me as I was thinking about this was, what if we look at where does happiness come from? I would suggest that if happiness is a leaf in the tree, and we have a healthy tree and there's lots of happy leaves on it, which is great, but it comes from a deeper place, and I would say that that's joy. What is it to be joyous, to be joyful, to have a joyous life? I think that's a little different than to have a happy life. Because joy to me means everything, in the sense that it's the yin and the yang. I can be in the midst of tremendous suffering, and then something happens and I'm healed over with laughter. Because something is so absurd about what I'm in the middle of that suddenly joy bubbles up. It's not happiness, actually, because I'm not happy. I'm in the middle of something really difficult. But there are these moments, or a chance encounter with somebody that is a stranger or someone you know, it doesn't really matter, but there's this moment in the midst of some kind of perhaps pain or stress or whatever we're in, that we connect. And it's a joyous moment. I may feel happy as a result of it, but it's a joyful thing. Yesterday I was Friday, on Wednesday I took the train to Montreal, and it was the 6:30, dreadful 6:30 a.m. train. And I was walking through the whole labyrinth to get to the subway station. And there we all were, or they all were, coming at me. All these people, just like, just go, go, go. No eye contact, push, 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 shove, shove, shove. Those of us who were trying to go the other way, of course, were in their way. And I thought, wow, what are they trying to do? They're trying to be happy. They're going to get to work so they can get to work early, so they can leave early, so they can have a little extra time, a little more time with the kids, a little more time with the friends, whatever it may be. But the getting to that place of having that little moment of happiness often isn't so happy. So one of the things I think I want to encourage you, because I'm not going to be staying for the conference. I'll say now I'm going to leave quite quickly after what I have to say, and you'll understand why in a moment. But is to start, if you can, during this retreat, is to go deeper than the easy answer. Go down to the roots. So if I'm sad, that's a leaf. But it comes from sorrow, which is a deeper, more rooted, if you will, state. What are some of the other ones? I'm kind of blanking right now. I had a whole bunch of them, of course, and now I've forgotten half of them. But to me, there's joy at the root, which produces happiness. There can be sadness as a leaf, but it comes from a place often of sorrow or of suffering or of some place of, it's not easy. But it's an emotional state to be sad. It comes and it goes. What are some of the other deeper ones that we tend to?
Anger.
Okay.
Fear.
Yeah, so fear can show up as what as a leaf? So what would fear be as a leaf? If fear is a root.
Anxiety.
Yeah, it might show up as anxiety, as stress, as irritability. Because but if I start tracking down the trunk to the roots, actually, I'm afraid of something happening here. I'm afraid that this person may say something that's going to hurt me, or contradict me, embarrass me, shame me. We have a zillion of them, right? So if we talk about efforting, I gotta push harder, push, 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 push. And at the root of that may be, I have a desire to do something. There's a willpower, a sense of something that wants to emerge and wants to develop and wants to flower. But I get caught in the efforting and I lose sight of what it was I was originally trying to do. So as Sam was talking about these elements of the tree and what it is to work with, what I really just want to keep bringing in here is keep going to the root of the tree. Because the roots are what feed the trunk, and the trunk is what produces the branches, and the branches is what produces the leaves. If we only look at the leaves, if we see happiness as something to get and acquire, and then, God damn it, I'm going to hang on to this. No one's taking my happiness. The minute someone says that, I'm happy, don't mess with me, then they're not happy anymore, right? They're right away, there's this sense of, I've got to hang on to and grasp and keep something. So this is not very nourishing. As a matter of fact, I think it's kind of like eating a lot of carbohydrates. Sitting having a bag of chips, then a bowl of pasta, and then a piece of cake, and get a lot of energy out of it, but next day we got to crank up again to find more happiness or more, or whatever it is that we're looking for. So what's that all got to do with why I'm here to speak to you right now? So if you went on the website, I look a little different. My hair color is a little different than it was a few years ago. I've run a very successful small business for a long time, traveled all over the world. I think done a lot of good work over those years, had a lot of wonderful adventures, pretty happy life. Great relationships, friendships, beautiful husband or husband-to-be, as it turns out. All sorts of wonderful things in my life, a lot of success, a lot of reasons for happiness. And then, 20 months ago, routine medical test, I have cancer. Completely unexpected. Completely, how would I even say? It just knocked me off center completely. I took care of myself. I'm healthy, I eat well, I have a spiritual life, I have an emotional life, I have a business to run. It was just impossible for me to think, what, you have cancer? But I did, don't know yet. And what that did, of course, like it does any major setback, it can be cancer, it can be a health-related thing, it can be a relationship that you thought was totally solid and stable. Suddenly someone says, I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Our whole foundation, our whole world rocks. So for me, what started to happen, of course, was a complete reevaluation of my life. Utter real. And I had to stop working. So you need to know that my being here tonight is the first time in almost 2 years that I've done anything in public. And the reason I'm leaving right afterwards is because I'm still getting chemotherapy. And it's not really healthy for me to be in places like this. Not you guys, but the place. So I'm going to head up to the Laurentians for a few days and where we have a place. But what happened during this whole adventure was my first, of course, like anybody else in any of these situations, is denial. I sure as hell wasn't happy. Fear, terror, you name it, all that sort of stuff. And then but this sense of it was unreal. This can't possibly be happening to me. Wandering into a hospital, I hadn't had a stitch in my life even, let alone been sick. And navigating these corridors with these thousands of people who all seemed to know what they were doing and where they were going. And then there were those of us who were the patients who were clearly lost and bewildered and didn't know where they were going or what they were doing. And I was one of them. I was not someone helping. I was one of those people going, what? And now, 2 years later, as someone said, I was talking to me and I said, yeah, I speak a whole new language now. I speak cancer. I can sit down with anybody. Doctors, nurses, specialists, lay people. I speak the language of cancer. So was I happy? No. Did I realize that a lot of what, even though I would say more than many people, I wouldn't say most, but more than many, I would say I've taken pretty good care of the trunk and the roots. I have a strong spiritual practice. I have a wonderful network of support. I had this incredible business doing my vocation, doing the work that I love. And yet, it's one of those stories. And yet, what's his name? The coach of the Ottawa senators. It's the same kind of cancer I have had. I keep bouncing between have and had because there's this whole dance with this. So I embarked in this as a good person would do. Okay, I'll be a good patient. I'll do what I'm told. I'll do what I have to do. And all the while feeling all of this sort of sense of, but what about everything I've already done? Why? Why me? A little bit, not too much, but just some of that, of course. So my leaves were falling, quite literally were falling off. So was my hair. So was weight. So was my sense of well-being, my energy, everything. And so was my connection to the world. So I didn't have much choice, I thought, and I still think this, but to go into the roots. To start looking at what is joy, what is strength, what is it to be, okay, thank you, to be a solid person in the middle of this, not to lose myself, because it's really easy to, because everybody's pulling you in a million different directions. The doctors, the specialists, the friends who are freaking out because I'm ill, because they can't believe it, and my role in my particular profession as a leader in that community, people were like, oh my God, you can't be sick, this can't be happening, but it was. So noticing how much I had to nourish them, which wasn't very nourishing for me, having to make choices about people that I could be with. Who are the people that support me? What are the systems that nourish me? And getting clear, but each time, for me, that means going down, being quiet, as Samar says, being present to, is this person that I love, nourishing me? No. Okay, then what do I need to do about that? How do I still love this person, hold the relationship, but take care of me? Not easy things to do. But as you go into this workshop, I think these are big things to be thinking about, because we so often sacrifice, well, sure, I'll have coffee with you, when it's the last thing I want to do. Or, okay, I'll come on over, and I just want to be in bed sleeping. And I've learned over the last couple of years to be much more categoric about that. Nice about it, but this is what's nourishing me, my roots. So here I sit, 2 years into this. My trunk has got scars on it, the trunk of my tree that it never had before. My leaves fell out. They're growing back. They're a different color. They're a different texture. They're a different everything. And yet, my life is so rich, so beautiful. I cannot even begin to describe, by living amongst my root system, what that enabled me, what that has opened up for me, enabled me to explore, to be with, in a way that I think most of us never get a chance to. So I don't want to sound new age and woo-woo when I say I'm grateful. I'm not. I'm not grateful that I have cancer and that I've had 4 surgeries and I'm having chemo and I had I've had the works. And at the beginning it was, it's not a big deal. We'll just nip this out and you'll be fine. And here I am still in the midst of all of this. But when I talk about profound moments of connection with people, of laughter, of on the floor hysterical laughter at some of the crazy stuff that happens to you and is done to you when you're in the system of healthcare, for instance, and it's such a misnomer in some ways sometimes, I wouldn't have changed it. I mean, I hope the outcome is the good one. I won't know. Someone said the other day, well, I guess you've been facing your mortality. And I said, no, actually what I've been doing is dancing with my immortality. And I can only do that if I'm nourishing the roots and the trunk. And then the dancing is easy. But if I just try and dance in the leaves, it's not very stable. It's not very sturdy. So my hope for you is, as always, as you go through this workshop, is as you run with it, as you play with it, is just keep that, particularly that first piece that Samar talked about. Pause, sense it, feel it in your feet as your roots, feel it in your body. What's right here? What's necessary? What serves me best? And you may get answers that are very different from the ones you're used to coming up with, that tend to be quick, leafy kind of answers. So I wish you a great workshop, and thanks for listening to me tonight. It's fun to be here.
Isn't she amazing?
So I gotta take my purple coat and my break.
Imagine that every time we have a chat, this is how we speak. This is our light topics. And this is life. What Pamela was talking about when she was speaking about the roots, the root of the roots is being real, is authenticity, is to truly have the courage to highlight what you truly need, the need behind your actions and the need behind everything you want to experience, you are experiencing. And happiness. I lived in multiple cultures. Happiness is the concept of happiness that it exists in English. It doesn't exist in the majority of the other ancient languages. The concept of happiness is very different. For example, in Arabic, we do not have a word specifically for happiness. The specific word for happiness is being satisfied, being content, which is a completely different story. You can be content with cancer. You can be content within a state that will appear to everybody that's a negative state. But still, you are content. You see the possibilities and the potential as you see the heavy experience, let's say. So being content is to be able to resonate with Pamela. When Pamela was speaking, I felt as if she was speaking about myself, although I don't have cancer. But I feel the possibility of cancer and the possibility of mortality. But at the same time, I have a clear focus on my immortality and dancing between mortality and immortality. This is life. So how I can be content, happy, let's say, with mortality or with immortality, this is where I will truly be in a very healthy place of balance. I will say no more. Now I would like to introduce to you another exceptional person. Dr. Mark is one of the best doctors in chiropractors, and as a chiropractor and as a functional medicine. I saw a lot in my life in 3 continents, and he's one of the exceptional people in that field. He'll speak to us about the perspective of functional medicine and how is it seeing presence, how is it seeing nourishment. So please welcome with me Dr. Mark.
So how are you doing so far?
Cooked.
Okay, wake you guys up. So I was asked to speak very briefly, I'm not going to be here very long, about presence and how it impacted my life and how it impacted my practice. How come nobody sits in the front chairs? All the seminars are the same. Nobody sits in the front chairs. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And that leads to some awareness as well. I can get a few notes here as well. But I've been practicing for 30 years. And we need to define how, in functional medicine, is essentially looking at the environment and how it impacts the systems of your body. How it interrelates with the immune system, with the endocrine system, with the neuromusculoskeletal system. And as a chiropractor, that's what we deal with the most. Now, most people think that, well, chiropractic is for back pain. Well, not really. It has really nothing to do with pain. We just happen to be very good at that. But what we're doing is actually treating the nervous system. There are two principles in chiropractic that are absolutely irrefutable. First one being that your body is self-healing and self-regulating. Well, how do you know that? Well, if you cut yourself, what happens? It heals. How did you do that? Where does that come from? This is interactive, by the way. Yeah, that was a question. Immune system? What controls the immune system?
General health,
Not really.
your lymphatic system,
Nope.
your nervous
Your nerves. Your brain controls everything. That's the second principle. Your brain and your nervous system controls everything you are, everything you do, everything you experience, period. Your eyes don't see, your brain does. Your hands don't feel, your brain does. These are just sensors that pick up stuff. So my job as a chiropractor is to make sure that the signals coming from the brain into your body and the feedback from your body into your brain are free and functioning and not interfered with and not distorted, which is extremely common. Why? Because of different stresses in our lives. We have physical stresses, we have chemical stresses, and the worst stress of all, emotional. Psycho-emotional stresses have been shown to be far and away more damaging in the nervous system than the other two combined. When I graduated 30 years ago, that wasn't the case. We thought physical stresses were by far the worst, and that hasn't shown to be the case at all. All right? So when we tie that into functional medicine, we want to look at those types of things that cause us to not self-repair and not self-regulate. There's reasons why that is. So we're talking about nourishment, and it may be from the physical level, but what's the big difference between that and other things? So we're talking about being present. And I've coached a lot of young chiropractors, and they often ask me, well, you're doing the exact same thing I'm doing. Why are you getting better results? Why would that be? What could it possibly be if I'm doing the exact same moves? No idea. We're talking about presence. If I'm adjusting something and talking to him about the last night's Boston's 6-4 loss or whatever, or hockey scores or football scores, how is that being present with people? It isn't. And so when we're coaching these younger people, we tell them we have to develop a sense of present time consciousness. You have to be in the here and now. And whether that's me adjusting a patient, or whether that's you talking with your best friend, or whether that's interacting with your children, is being present time conscious. Now that doesn't mean that you don't learn from the past. You just don't live in the past, right? You don't carry that burden with you. It doesn't mean you don't plan for the future, right? But you don't live for the future. Oh, and when I get that, I will be so happy. When I reach that, I will be so happy. Because one of the biggest principles I teach these young kids coming out of school is, Samara touched on it, is a principle of be, do, and have. In that order. You cannot have if you don't do, but initially you have to be something. So the fact of me adjusting someone is an extension of who I am. It's an extension of what I've worked on for years. And that is reflected in the patient, and you get that response back. It's all about communication. Whether it's physical, mental, spiritual. You have that communication coming back and forth. So I get information from people all the time. And it's, most of the time, it's nonverbal. Absolutely nonverbal. So these things you can extrapolate into your life as well. To make sure that when you're with someone, you're present time conscious. What's interesting that we find as well is that we tend to worry about a whole lot of things. How much can you actually control? Well, studies have shown this. 40% of the things we worry about, we have absolutely no control over at all. 30%, in other words, they've already happened. So, 30% of things we worry about literally are never going to happen at all. And 22% you have no control over because the situation is beyond your control. So studies have shown that 8% of what we worry about is all you have even the slightest bit of influence on. But we worry a whole lot more than that. And that sense of worry takes you away from being present. Takes you away from being who you are. Because what you want to be discovering, and I take a lot from what Pam just said, take that with you and go with it, because it's tremendous. But being able to to be and develop that and go to the roots will allow you to do a whole lot more, much more efficiently than you ever could think, and have whatever you want. But you can't have it all today. You can have it all eventually. And some mothers make that big mistake of trying to be the everything to everyone. They want to be the perfect mom, they want to have the perfect job, they want to be the perfect wife, and it just can't happen. And they run themselves right into the ground because they're out of balance. And Sam will be talking about that tomorrow. But reaching balance, reaching awareness, and the presence you have. So as you go through your life and you deal with people and you have communication with people, the presence you're going to have, if you can be with them even for a split second. And I witness this because sometimes I'll be with a patient for 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes. And I've had medical students come in and other chiropractic students come in and ask me, well, how can you impact a person's life in 2 minutes? So I decided to run a little study. So I actually asked people in my practice, how long am I with you on average? How long do they say?
10 seconds.
Nope. The average was 15 minutes. And it's rare, unless they're a complicated case that I'm with for 15 minutes. Why is that time so compressed? You're present. You're with them. You're right there. And when you're right there, time disappears. And you get a lot done in a very short period of time. So these are the types of things that I really want you to embrace and you're going to learn this weekend. And you have a golden opportunity to really make large strides forward in your lives and in the lives of others and the ones you touch. Because I truly believe that one of the biggest parts of actually growing, because we have very different parts of our lives in terms you can nourish your physical self, nutrition, exercise, that type of thing. There's the chemical part of you, avoiding pollution, eating well, that type of thing. Mental, your education, we talked about that a little bit a few minutes ago. Learning a bit every day, principle of Kaizen, small incremental improvements all the time. And spiritual, like believing in something greater than yourself. And this is not a religious thing. If it's God, that's great, but it doesn't have to be. But if you believe in something greater than yourself, then you put yourself out of the equation. It's not about you, but you can nourish yourself to do a whole lot more for others. Because early in my career, and that's my story about nourishing, I kind of ignored that. I had 2 practices going, I was working 7 days a week, and I crashed. And when I'm not good, I'm no good to anyone, am I? You know? So I learned that personally, that essentially you can't push yourself so hard and take things so personally that you crash on your own. I used to lose sleep over the single case I couldn't figure out, and the 100 that I did that I were great at would make any difference. I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn to make decisions, learn to make priorities. And when you start to do that, and you're much more present in your life, things start to flow. And it's all about flow. Instead of pushing against the river, flow with the river. It's a whole lot easier. That's my time.
Another amazing friend. Wow. He said things that I think to be able to articulate it like what he said in that short time, I need like 3 years of practice. It's amazing. Amazing. So, if I would not see you again, and you will not come tomorrow, and you will come out from this meeting that we had today with this first big piece nourishing me to allow it to be the purpose of your life, I would be extremely content, because that means that I nourished myself by delivering the message. So please, It's all about nourishing yourself. Everything else will happen as a byproduct of you nourishing yourself. Everything you want will come. But when you focus on yourself as the center, as the core of you experiencing life. So, the fun will start from tomorrow, but I will give you a taste now. So, cultivating presence. How about we try to experience that? So please, I would ask you to sit in your chair, let go whatever you're holding in your hands. And remember here, what we need is authentic presence. To be able to have a clear reading, a clear, authentic and be present with my needs. That means I don't want you to add anything. Don't start adjusting, and don't start sitting in a meditative textbook position. As you are, with the way that you are usually sitting, just letting go everything from your hands, and sense yourself, be present with yourself in this state. The state that you are crashing on the sofa in front of TV, this kind of state, this is authentic presence. Now, how does your chest feel right now? Sense into it. Just with your mind, without trying to move anything, move your muscles. Just sense into it. How about your forehead? How does it feel? Learn to scan your body with your mind. This is presence. How's your neck feels? Without moving it, without adding anything, just sense it as it is. How does your spine feel? What's the rhythm of your breath? Notice your breath. What kind of a rhythm? Are you inhaling more or exhaling more? How deep? Oh, that's a tough one. What kind of taste do you have in your mouth? How does your stomach area feels? How about your bladder? How does the chair underneath you feel? The contact between your body and the chair. How does your legs feel? Your feet. Open your eyes. Now, I would like you to share with me your blind spot, the area that you could not feel, and although you tried, and the area that you felt right away.
Neck,
Your neck you felt right away, or
No.
you could not feel whatsoever?
chest, right away.
Your chest right away. Who else?
No, felt nothing.
Mouth felt nothing.
Mhm.
And what did you feel right away?
Forehead.
Your forehead you managed to feel right away.
Yeah.
What else? So I presume that the rest did not feel anything. You felt everything and it was accessible, every single part. Fantastic. So the majority felt everything. Great. What does a blind spot within presence, when we have a blind spot, what does that mean? So, you said that your mouth, you could not sense it,
I couldn't sense any taste or
or
anything.
any taste or anything. So that means that that's your blind spot. But what's actually making it a blind spot?
They have some need associated with it, I guess.
You do not have,
But no, that there's some need associated, something you need that is related to it, is that?
it's, as Dr. Mark said, we see and taste and experience and everything with our mind. It's an area that our mind is not used to visit, so it became a blind spot. With habits, we trained our mind, our consciousness, our focus to ignore certain areas. And this is what's called the blind spot. So, what's important here is to try, as more we as less blind spots we have, as more we will become present with everything that's happening within our body. And bit by bit we start going deeper and deeper. Now, I will ask you to close your eyes again, please. Do not change anything, just stay as you are. And now, how are you feeling right now, emotionally? Try to figure that out. And as Pamela said, try to reach the root of the emotion. Don't take it from the surface. When you figure out the emotion, figure out where do you feel it in your body. Good. Please open your eyes. So, who managed to differentiate between the emotion and what you are feeling in your body, and what did you feel? Like anybody, if you can share, please. In your sharing, that's true learning for us. Sorry?
It's 8 o'clock.
Sorrow? Where did you feel it in your body?
Right in my chest.
Right in your chest. Who else? Calm. How did you experience it in your body? In your chest. What else? Anxiety. In your stomach. Good. So calm, sorrow, anxiety. Stomach, chest, chest. What in the chest that happened that you identified as sorrow? What in the chest happened that you identified as calmness? What in your stomach happened that you identified as anxiety. That's us going to the root, going a bit deeper and being more present. So, can you tell me?
Happiness.
Heaviness in the chest, like a literal physical heaviness.
Little, yeah.
About yourself. Peaceful. Take it to the physical side a little bit more. Peaceful is more a notion than an actual physical sensation.
Safe or active?
Like throbbing,
Yeah.
let's say.
Building up to-
Oh, we call butterflies.
Yeah.
Mm. That's a sensation.
Slow breath.
Slow breath. Rhythmic or not. It depends on what you are sensing that will start shaping your emotion. Because you see, there is no emotion without experiencing it in your body. So if you can sense enough and be present enough with what's happening in your body, you will be able to validate your emotion and understand exactly how are you feeling. How many of us make the wrong actions because we are confused about what we feel? So imagine if you can identify how exactly are you feeling about a person or about specific something with an absolute clarity. How would that transform your actions? To make your actions powerful, clear, understandable by others, because your entire being is saying the same thing. And that's nourishment. And what enables such nourishment is presence. Now, you have been present with your body. You have been present with your emotions. Now let's try to be present with your surroundings. So what I will ask you, just look around you. Explore your surroundings. Look at people. Look at the people, look at the person on your right, on your left. Notice the light. Sense the air on your skin. Taste the air in your mouth. Smell. Feel the ground underneath your feet. Start cultivating presence by noticing all what's happening. And be honest with yourself. And you don't need to tell me that, but how many of these things you noticed since you came in? And how many of these things you skipped? Because it's not in your focus of attention, it's in your blind spot. Now, how many things like that happened in your life, and because of it, you missed a lot of potential? Potential profound relationships, potential business opportunities, just potentials that you keep skipping, that we all keep skipping, because we are not present with our surroundings. So, presence needs to be cultivated on a physical level, needs to be cultivated on an emotional level, needs to be cultivated on an intellectual level, needs to be cultivated on a surroundings level. This is the whole idea of being present. So, in all of that, we did not do anything. You are just being present what there is. Without adding, without acting, without standing up and stretching and doing all of that. But now you know what can, or you will have a much clearer idea what can help you relieve or fulfill your needs. But once you manage to get the root of the tree, to get the authentic need, the real need, the need that it's underneath of all of the layers of I want to be nice to describe it. What should I say? Because I would say layers of illusions that we keep creating around our needs because we are ashamed of our needs. So, we are done, I promise. The only thing that especially that I'm jet lagged now, I didn't sleep from 3 days, but 3 hours a day, that it's like extremely hard. So I start to see you as a big group, which is a good thing too. So first thing that we will start with the day tomorrow is cultivating presence on a physical level and an emotional level, using Qigong as a tool. The beauty of Qigong that it's a very simple practices that will help you enhance your ability to cultivate presence. Because we start first with the very basic things. You start being present of your body, like with the most general way. Start being present with your arms, your legs, your feet, the ground under your feet, and so on. And bit by bit, you start going deeper by being present of your skin, muscles, bones, neural system. And then going even deeper by being present with the emotion that's happening. When you are doing one movement in contrast to the other movement, you will learn and you will experience. If you will learn or not, that's completely up to your choice. But you will experience the difference when you, the emotional difference that happen in you when you try one movement and you do an opposite movement. And you will see how your emotions will shift. How your body is deeply connected with your emotions. And after presence, we will start working with the second step, awareness, and the third step, balance. And on top of all of that, we will practice creating a healthy relationship by practicing what does it mean to have a clear, powerful communication. Communication is the spine of any relationship. How you can truly communicate yourself, express yourself with the tree way. And the benefit of that, the main benefit of that you'll be able to create healthy boundaries within every relationship you have, the kind of boundaries that will help you nurture yourself. The kind of boundaries that will help others understand what nourishes you and what's not. Because let's confess to ourselves, when somebody hurt me in a relationship, it's not because he wants to hurt me intentionally. The majority of the time, he caused me pain because I didn't know how to make him understand what's painful for me and what's not. I didn't know how to share my needs. I didn't know how to share what I like and what I need in general, if it's what I want more of or what I need less of. How you can communicate that if you're not present with it? If you cannot tell what's your true needs? All of that will be the work of tomorrow. So the last question that I will ask you, and then you are free. And actually, it's a question that I would like you to ask yourself. What would make tomorrow worth it for me? So, if you will decide to come tomorrow, what will make it worth it for you? The one thing that if you learn tomorrow, it will be worth it. This time, it's not optional. Everybody have to say something. One word. What will make it worth it for you?
Find peace.
Find peace. What else? There's no right answer. Nobody is judging anybody.
Unlocking the need I'm missing.
Unlocking the need
That I'm missing.
you're missing. What else?
Nourished presence. Being very present.
Being very present. So, if tomorrow you will become very present, it's worth it for you, or if you will learn how to be present.
Learn how to be present. Not just be present, but being here but with presence.
Sorry, he's really cute and distracted.
I know what he's thinking, and it's a bit of a existential question for him, so he's taking time. And I fall in love with him when I saw him. So
Learning how to have balance.
learning how to have balance in your life.
Having the feeling that I've got the tools to apply some of what you're talking about. Like actually being able to go away and do something about it.
So you'll come out with that. If you will come out with practical tools that can truly help you apply this,
Yeah.
it's worth it for you.
Yeah.
Sorry? Authenticity. So learning the meaning of authenticity, or to be more authentic, or this is what you're looking for. The last two people.
Learning to realize the root cause.
The root cause. Learning to dig deep enough to reach the root.
Learning to be more authentic so that what I feel and what I do go together or
Mm.
on the same page.
Aligning
Aligning. Yes.
what you feel and what you do.
Yes.
Fantastic. I lied, by the way, and it's not the last two. Everybody started relaxing. Ah, thank God. Last two. No, think again. So, the last two.
For me, it's really about bring more awareness to the root.
Sorry?
Bring more awareness to the roots. Like that concept.
More awareness to the roots. More awareness to what's real. Mm.
I'd like to identify the actions to improve my health.
You would like to?
Identify what actions I need to do to improve my health.
Identifying the exact actions to improve my health. Learning. Indefinite or something specific?
Something specific.
What could that be? Depends. So learning, I don't know what. I just feel that it's good.
Nourishing myself.
Nourishing yourself. There you go. You see what you are doing now, and even with this question, although it's a bit of a selfish question for me, like that, because like that I will learn truly where your interest lies. This is a practice of presence. In that moment, you try to truly at least have a better idea of your need as an outcome from this experience that you are living. So even in that moment, you are cultivating presence.
I'd like to learn about how to set a healthy boundary.
Setting a healthy boundary.
It's what Pamela says about this is the person I loved, but I keep nourishing the person. It can be my parents, the one that, my spouses, my kids, but they don't nourish me. How I deal with that situation.
Perfect. So from all what you said, apparently you're in the right place. It was a bless having you all. It's always a beautiful experience when we are opening our heart to each other. I know it is difficult to be able to be present with oneself, and it's even more difficult to share about it. But I can promise you that it will get much, much easier, because it will become more tangible when you look at it on a physical level. It becomes much, much easier. When we identify emotions as physical reactions, wow. It makes emotions and dealing with emotions much, much, much easier, because it's not this kind of a psychotherapy work that you need to dig deep in your history and relive your scars. It's more about the know-how of releasing right away, now, without traveling to the past. So, I will be waiting for you tomorrow. Come wearing something comfortable, relaxed, so we will be able to practice and play together. The boring stuff is done today. Tomorrow it will be the fun stuff. We will not talk a lot, we will work together a lot. Thank you very much, and please don't hesitate to ask about anything to any one of us. You'll always find a tag with Ask Me. Anybody with an Ask Me, catch him or her and kill them questions, because that's a test for them too.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, and have a nourishing night.